I'm Derek with Working Brothers, and this is my 1-year review of my STIHL MS180 chainsaw. So I want to start off giving a couple of just basic specs. It comes with a 16-inch bar, and it has a 31cc two-stroke motor on it. And I believe I paid $179 for it at a local Ace Hardware. To jump in, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. I am not a professional. This is more of the use from like a homeowner standpoint with some light firewood cutting. And so we'll jump right in. First, I want to establish kind of what this saw fits, what roles it kind of fits in. And that way we can kind of know what I'm basing this review on. Definitely think that it's a great saw for any homeowner needing to trim their trees and do some light cleanup of unwanted trees and maybe thick woody type shrubs if it comes to that. So then I also think that it's a decent firewood cutting saw. I do have experience using it in that role, and it's certainly not the best tool for the job, but it is good enough, and I don't think you could go wrong with it. But I think that the role in the firewood cutting role that it would fit would be more as a backup saw. Number one, in case you get your other saw stuck, which I would probably recommend the MS250 for. I think that's just kind of just the right saw for a homeowner cutting lots of firewood. I think it's a great backup saw for that, and I think that it would be a good secondary saw so you can have two people running saws if you're only going to have two saws and you don't want to spend the price of you know, a good Husky or like the MS250. Sorry. So moving into kind of my thoughts on that and the roles that it would fill as a tree trimming, light firewood cutting tool. I would say plenty of power to cut and trim those thick branches that are a little bit too big for your loppers. Plenty good for that. I would say pretty much perfect for that role. And for the firewood, I think that there's not quite enough engine power to really get through the really thick, dense wood. It's comparable. It'll definitely work, but I do find myself lifting the bar up to let it get some momentum to start being able to cut again at full engine power. So it is a little bit lacking in the power for larger stuff, but again, it's not really made for that. But with that being said, probably like 12, 14, maybe even like 16, maybe 18-inch diameter sized firewood, you know, I think it'll just go through that just fine. Still might have to lift it up once in a while to let that chain gain some momentum again. But overall, I think that if that's kind of the size of trees you're going to be cutting, you couldn't go wrong with this. So something I really like about it is it's so lightweight. Comparing it to my dad's Farm Boss, which is like the MS, well, and it might not even be the MS anymore. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's like a 290, 291. It's a little bit older saw. They called it the Farm Boss. It's not a model that they make anymore. But man, that's a big saw, and it's nice, but it's a little heavy, and it takes a lot of work to lug it around every day. Or not every day, but for all your wood cutting. But again, you're kind of getting better engine power that's just going to rip through those bigger logs. Where this, you know, it's just kind of a good right in the middle saw, I think, of lightweight, enough engine power, but not too much that it's a heavy saw. Again, just kind of a lighter duty use in the firewood cutting area. So I've also found the components of it are quality. The only issue I've had with it so far, and this may have been my fault, I don't actually even remember when or why this happened, but it was the bar, and it was the same bar. I fixed it, but I was cutting some firewood for some members of my church, and out of nowhere the chain just stopped moving and it wouldn't budge. So I finally brought it home, took it apart, and I noticed that the bar had been kind of pinched in and was grabbing onto the chain and wouldn't let it go past. I'm not really even sure why that happened. I don't think I pinched it. I was actually pretty shocked that that was the issue when I found it. But again, that may have been user error more than anything else. I really do think that the components are all really fairly high quality components that we all expect from STIHL. Just because it's cheaper saw, I don't think you're getting screwed in the quality components parts. You're just kind of getting a smaller saw, obviously. So what else? Moving on. That was the only issue I had with it. We have the one of my other kind of small issues with it is the capacity of the gas tank and the bar tank, bar and chain oil tank, excuse me. So the bar and chain oil tank, man, I think just like probably right around 15, 20, 25 minutes, maybe 15 to 25 minutes of cutting, and I've got to refill it. So you kind of have to refill it a little more often, which is not something I really like about it. And then the fuel tank, pretty much the same story, just kind of a small capacity, you're refilling it a lot. But again, that kind of contributes to it being lighter weight, easier to use, less expensive. So again, you're not really giving up quality, you're just kind of giving up some features of long-lasting tank, long-lasting bar oil, less stops for refills. So that is one thing. Expect it to be a little bit small in the fuel and bar and chain oil capacity. And then I really think that's pretty much it. Overall, I've been super happy with this saw. I really don't have reason to purchase any other saws right now. I don't even have a fireplace. Everything that I've done with this saw has been for other people. And then trimming trees around the storage property that I'm managing with my wife. So I think that it really fits in those roles I mentioned. And overall, I mean, really good saw. You really can't go wrong. 179 bucks, you know, for only $50 more than they're asking for those terrible Craftsman saws, the subpar home lights. I really think that you're getting a decent saw for a very reasonable price with that STIHL quality that everybody expects, and just overall just a pretty decent saw. And I would definitely buy another one if it ever came down to it. Again, I would probably buy the MS250 next, when I get to the point to where I am cutting my firewood like I hope to be in the next few years. But for a second saw cutting firewood and just a good around the house tree trimming saw, I think that it really would be should be one of your top choices for those roles. So thank you for watching. Again, I am Derek with Working Brothers. Do lots of videos on all kinds of different things, from chainsaws, tools, projects we're doing, welding, all kinds of different stuff. We're just doing all kinds of different things that we need to get done, whether it be for the storage facility, Brandon's own projects, or my own projects. So if you could please subscribe to us, and even give us some likes and dislikes. And if you have something that you feel you need to say in the comments, go ahead and comment on that too. So again, please subscribe.